Hi, it's Monday. It's 3 o'clock. It's 2021. Welcome to Together Unlocked. We're back after 4 weeks. We've missed you guys, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Welcome to Together Unlocked. We're brought to you today by Together 2012. We're a disabled-led arts organisation based in the main Paralympic host borough of Newham. I'm Ju Gosling, artist and artistic director, and with me in my East London studio, where she's been locked in since last March, is our chair, the artist and documenter, Julie Newman. We're going to do a bit of audio description in a minute, but first, at the other end of our long virtual wheeled sofa in the West Midlands, we have our other hosts to introduce themselves and describe themselves too.
Well, good afternoon. I mean, it is 4 weeks almost since we've done this, and I'm not sure I remember who I am, having had Christmas, New Year, and various political crises in between. So, hold on. Yes, I am Robin Surgeoner. I am business director at Together 2012, and also an artist known as Angry Fish, and also a former Paralympian with some medals to my name. So, welcome back to Together 2012. Unlocked TV. I am today, well, I was the only one that had official professional haircuts. No, disrespect to Jew's home grooming. In the previous 9 months. However, I am now looking increasingly dishevelled and more like my dad as the days go on. Actually, it's very worrying. And he's 93, so there you go. Today, so I am wearing, yes, messy silvery white grey hair. I have my no-rim black-armed glasses, reasonably shaven, and I'm wearing a black round-necked T-shirt with a very bright white logo which says Black Thursday and a ballot box, which is a record I produced a few years ago, and Angry Fish as the artist's name. So that's me.
Hi, I'm Josh Surgeoner. I'm also one of the hosts of Together Unlocked. I have increasingly, it hasn't stopped growing in the fall as we've had off. Very long blonde hair, trimmed ginger beard, and then today I'm wearing a kind of forest green, army green T-shirt that in white letters says Park Ranger Endor on it, which is a planet in Star Wars, and then in the middle of the big picture, it has the Ewok called Wicket, who is also in Star Wars.
Oh, Ewoks. I could get into a whole conversation about that, but I won't. Don't. So, as Robin hinted, I have been doing home hairdressing since last March. Initially, with the dogs' clippers, I do have a slightly better pair, which the dogs are also now benefiting from. So it's kind of gone round in full circle. So I have a self-styled, self-hennaed Corona crop, of which I can only say it looks better on camera, and at least you can't see the back. I'm a white woman with light. I know you can see the back, Julie. I have light olive skin, green eyes behind black plastic glasses. I've got black wrist braces and silver coloured jewellery. And I've got a long sleeved sort of bluey green T-shirt with some orange details. And over the top of that, and I think we had a whole discussion about what these should be described as before Christmas, but I think we went for tank top or knitted waistcoat in stripes of blue and turquoise. Behind us, you can see some silver grey velvet curtain, and over the top of that, you can see bits of our Together graffiti banner. That's also got pictures of all of the different art forms that we cover, from photography, filmmaking, live art, visual art, music, dance, drama, carnival art, street art, and much, much more. And we'll be telling you more about what we're offering in terms of joining from home as the show goes on. But first, Julie, you've been very patient.
I try to be. I've got ever-growing hair, similar to our Josh, only mine is gold and silver. It is growing quite quite long, and I was looking at myself in the monitor just now, and it reminded me of a Springer Spaniel that I had many years ago called Millie, who had ears very similar to this. She was a very dear dog, I have to say. And today I'm wearing a black, grey and navy blue and brown checked sort of soft shirt. Underneath I have my best favourite in the world T-shirt with an eagle flying through mountains. It's a brown background, but a nicely coloured eagle.
Thank you, Julie. So, for anybody who's new to Together Unlocked, we started this show on the 30th of March 2020 with, shall we say, no planning at all, because, of course, there wasn't really a great deal of warning that the modern plague was about to descend upon us. We have core funding for our operations from Arts Council England and National Lottery Community Fund. A fair bit of volunteering, I think it's fair to say, is going on this show. And we also have London Emergency Fund funding for global real-time captioning to create live captions for us. So if you're watching this show live on YouTube, you need to go to our website www.together2012.org.uk, click on the Together Unlocked TV page, and the live captions will appear like magic underneath, thanks to the very wonderful Julia, who is typing these words as I'm speaking them. The live captions are then available if you're watching the edited recording. Just click on the CC on the bottom right hand of the screen and you will get the captions up. So a huge thank you to anybody who plays the lottery. You help us keep going and you've helped us move online for the duration. Julie, did you want to add anything at this point?
Oh, I don't know. I always quite like having access to the microphone, just me. But I think, well, it's nice to know that we're back. The situation is slightly problematic for us all, but it's nice to be back on air and to be part of that online and on-air community, Ju.
It is. It was nice to have a break, though. And as we've not exactly seen each other for the last 4 weeks either, I thought we could just say, before we look forward to a rather challenging future, what did you do over the holidays and did you have fun? And did you do anything creative?
I'll go first then, so everyone seems to be looking at me. In kind of the 2 weeks between the show finishing and Christmas, I was trying to catch up with some uni work, which isn't very exciting for anybody other than me, I think, and even for me, it's not that exciting. And then I kind of decided that whole week between kind of Christmas and New Year, I would kind of turn everything off. I mean, I've left the TV on, but kind of, you know, emails and things like that, I kind of shut them down and just took that week to chill out and eat Christmas dinner about 3 times and catch up on a load of kind of films and TV. And it was just really enjoyable to just kind of chill out and
Lego
and build a very large Lego set. And we can talk about it more on Wednesday, but hammer everybody at Mario Kart. So yeah, that's what I did. We can talk about what films and stuff we watch later if you want.
Well, yeah, I'd like to know about that. We spent, I think, most of our relaxation was watching films and reading books, wasn't it? I mean, but quite a lot of them were films, shall we say, from people like Netflix and Disney Plus. I didn't think the main broadcasters really did us that proud, considering everybody was stuck at home watching TV. But overall, I think we saw some great films and a few great programs, didn't we? What was the Lego set? That does sound creative.
It was a Lego Tantive 5 or Tantive 4, which is the first ship you see in Star Wars. It's the one that Princess Leia's on. Because I'm a massive nerd. So.
And it's about
it's quite large. It was about 1,800 pieces. So it took me a good few days to build that.
Oh, Josh, I have to say, I got a tiny Lego image of Princess Leia, and it took me 3 days to work out how to put it.
I'll tell you what, for a future show, I'll get him to take a picture of his shelf of Star Wars Lego.
Well,
Yeah, quite a
I
lot.
think you'd have to be a little bit gentle. I mean, Julie, I think it's true to say, well, you and Josh, of course, because, Josh has had to give up his flat and move home. You haven't seen your home for 9 months. Indeed, all of your Lego collections. And yeah, I have a house that's really set up for work. So that's been great for Together 2012 since we moved in for the duration. We don't have huge amounts of domestic space and definitely no space to do jigsaw puzzles or build big Lego. But yes, I managed to get a miniature Princess Leia. And it's true, it did take you 3
3
days.
days.
How many parts did it have?
Oh, maybe
7.
Yeah,
I think it's probably 10.
I think
Legs, body, head, hair.
they kept saying, "What is it?" And I said, "Well, really, you're going to have to put it together to find." You did what it was quite early on, didn't you?
Well, yeah, there's what they do very well, I think, Josh, with Lego is that they're very distinctive, aren't they? The characters.
Yeah, and I mean, you might have had a puzzle Lego by the sounds of it, but mine was it kind of came with an instruction book. But I think the thing that Lego does really well is how simple sometimes really complex things are, that you look at it and go, oh, I know exactly what I have to do. And they've now started doing like assisted instructions where you can go online and see a kind of 3D model that does it for you. So I guess if you are struggling to follow it, you can do that as well. But
well, I suppose I'm old-fashioned enough to go, actually, what I like is a completely blank Lego set just to make my own things with. But I think it's worth all of us. I mean, it's a serious point, isn't it? So many of us kind of get past the age of, or so many, I'll address Robin here. So many of us get past the age of 7 and leave our Lego behind. But actually, as Josh and Julie shows, you can enjoy it as a PhD student and as a pensioner. So we do recommend it as a fun activity for everybody for lockdown and beyond.
there's
You can buy it secondhand.
And in
Yeah.
nails.
yeah, there's a really funny line on the Lego website, because they've started to do more stuff to try and get adults to buy it. But it was 100% of Lego on the website is brought by adults. Not all of it makes it to children, or something like that, which I thought was quite funny.
I'd be surprised if much got it to children. I bought you the Beatles Yellow Submarine a couple of Christmases ago, but I mean, we were intending to go back to Julie's flat because officially we're a support bubble. Well, I think officially we're one household now, but we could have been a support bubble, but it just didn't look that safe to us. So yes, but you still got mini Lego. Robin, what did you enjoy doing over the holiday?
Well, for such a chilled kind of person, I'm actually not that good at relaxing. So I can't say I wasn't thinking about commissions and applications and stuff in downtime. I'm not very good at just sitting for hours watching telly at all. However, I did force myself on a number of occasions. We played a lot of games, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, that was good. Lots of like little games, including one we received from Together, which we have indulged in, which was fun. And I mean, from a creative side, I actually found quite a lot of, I played quite a lot of guitar in small bouts, but lots of little small bits.
You didn't really have a holiday, did you?
No.
Dum-de-dum, okay, moving swiftly on and not even stopping to think about the impact of that on the rest of the family. I would just flag up that one of the reasons we bought the I can't remember exactly what the game is, but the point I wanted to make is that it allowed you to act the answer, draw the answer, or
Random.
describe the answer.
It's called randomize.
Yeah, randomized.
Oh, yes. And I just thought that was such a simple way to make something accessible. And actually, that there's a whole bunch of things, including charades, that actually you could be doing alternatively if you're non-verbal or for different things. So yeah, I just really liked the idea, and also that everybody could do what they were best at. So if somebody was best at drawing and somebody was best at acting and somebody was best at describing, it was going to be head to head.
Or indeed no good at any of them, which was
I was banned from playing because I was too good. I think it's a really good point that you said, Ju, and obviously that kind of it comes with that game and it's set up because it's some really abstract things that it gives you to act, draw, or describe. But actually, kind of like you said, you could do it with any game, kind of Taboo, Pictionary, charades, anything like that, and just say, okay, well, I'm going to describe this or act this or draw this or whatever. You don't, if you've got one in the cupboard, then you can just kind of take it and tweak it to however you need it. You don't have to go and buy something new necessarily.
Well, that's right. And I think it's true to say that we'll all be spending the next 3 months elongating that sort of Christmas holiday thing of playing games and board games and doing puzzles, because there's not going to be huge amounts of other ways to entertain ourselves. So yeah, why not dig things out, dust them off, and rewrite the rules? I know Eve Smith, who is our intern, had contacted me over Christmas and said she was playing Monopoly with her parents, and she lives in a housing co-op, and I simply suggested that I'd found it quite fun setting up a housing co-op when I played Monopoly, because then nobody else could win. So again, feeling fed up after the last 3 or 4 weeks of holiday, fed up with the idea of more to come, rewrite the rules. Julie, we're going to start telling people as well about what's coming up later in the week. But in fact, our clubs program went back last week, and we're now running our clubs by Zoom and by telephone. So tomorrow, for example, we have Art Club. Well, in fact, I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute, because I was going to ask you about last week's Poetry Club, which is a phone-based club. We phone you, put you onto a group call, and we pay all the costs. And we've managed to pretty much take the club that we've been running since 2012 and do it very much from home. So by 10:30, everybody is on a group call with a cup of tea or coffee and a biscuit. All right, you've got to provide your own, but that is the only difference. People share a poem they've either written beforehand or a poem that they found that they like. And then on the theme, everybody goes away and writes and comes back and shares those poems. And last week, unsurprisingly, the theme was New Year. So you're going to read us your poem first.
Sure thing.
And then we will go over to the West Midlands, and Robin and Josh will read poems that they will introduce from other members of the Pop-Up Poetry Club.
Thank you very much. I wrote this really, and quite clear what I was referencing at the time, but it wasn't necessarily the one that I would have chosen to write. New Year's Eve. The bells ring out no more, just shouts and bangs creating havoc in the land, skies filled with bursting fireworks, loud, loud, and seemingly never to cease. Hour after wretched hours pass as the thunder of other people's pleasure causes trees to shake, dogs to bark, and babies to cry. Remorseless comes repeated bangs, no sleep tonight, no rest again, just relentless constant crashing as the heavens are filled with flashing lights and the landscape, no longer at peace, changes beyond recognition. What world is this, filled with colours and shapes impossible in nature, imposed on our being? No more the ringing of the bells that wish farewell to the old and welcome in the new. How then can we sit and quietly pay our respects to that which is gone and open our arms to a new dawn, safe from the cacophony as the old year drifts quietly by?
Oh, that was wonderful. What a great contrast between the traditional New Year with the church bells and everybody sort of pottering around with a drink, and what actually happens in East London. And I think it's true, people pretty much respected the lockdown rules and didn't have parties. They all let off their own fireworks.
Here,
Yeah,
in East London.
Yes, so well, that's a Canning Town.
Within half a mile radius.
Yes, I would say just about every other backyard in Canning Town had its own fireworks going off. And as we do have 2 assistance dogs, not absolutely ideal. But like I say, better than everybody getting together in one super spreader event. And why not have fireworks every single night for 3 weeks?
I could probably tell you why.
Julie could tell you why. I think honestly, I was so tired over Christmas that it was like, oh, bang, bang, woof, 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 bang, bang.
That's
Yeah,
Yes, of course. Fortunately, you won't be able to hear us, but as if they knew a huge firework has just gone off in the street behind us. So we're going to go straight over to the
Please,
West
yes.
Midlands.
they were celebrating Julie's poem. That's what it was. So this is a poem from Blake. So, a new year, a new start. Turn the page. Maybe a new pen might help. Any New Year's resolutions? Any idea on what to do today? I feel like changing. Do you feel like loving? Love is my drug of life. It's beautiful trauma. A new year, a new start. Still living and loving. There is no point in fixing things that aren't broken. What's work is tweaks and adjustments to make the new you. A new year, all set for a new year. Ready to write through this new year. 2021, let's hit the road for a new adventure, adapted for a new situation. Somewhere along the lines, we may see eye to eye. Maybe we did when we clapped the carers and our key workers, those who work from old year into new. In the streets, we may cross paths. Who's going to walk on the dark side of the morning, watching the moon dim down from its shine as the sun comes back, rises into the sky to shine through the day, even though the dark clouds, before the moon becomes its mirror again and shines in the next night sky. Both will still shine bright through the clouds. I may walk past ready in love with the new year, in love with life and in love with myself and others. In fact, I dare say many will be after the last year. Many will now love and respect life more than ever before. Here's to 2021. Is the new me ready? The one that's had a few tweaks and adjustments. Let 2021 be a new year with adventure. See you all soon in the next poem of 2021. Hope you enjoyed reading this one.
Oh, we did. Thank you very much, Blake Jarrett Gibbons, and thank you, Josh Surgener, for reading it so well. Robin.
Okay, over to me now. I've got a poem from Duncan. And normally
Bridge stock, isn't it?
normally I just read them straight out, but I want to draw your attention to the first sentence, I guess. I just thought it was I've never seen it written this way before, and I think a fantastic way of being able to think positively about what you're moving away from. So the poem starts with the line, "As last year draws near." And that just spoke volumes to me. So here is the poem, and thank you, Duncan. As last year draws near, I fumble in the jumble of my tumble dryer, of a memory bobbing up and down in my beach-combed mind, to recall all of the year past. And like Spike Milligan, I find that looking back hurts my neck. Ooh. Last year, I didn't like having to adhere to the rules, and now, in the new year, I fear another year just like last year. But the poetry, the poetry, soon is a boon.
Brilliant. Thank you, Duncan. If you'd like to join our poetry group, our clubs are open to all disabled people, however you identify. We don't ask for any kind of information about that. If you contact us on info@together2012.org.uk, and I'm just going to put that on the bottom of the screen. Has that just gone up on the bottom of the screen, Robin, from your end?
Yes.
Sorry, yes, you disappeared for a moment, and I don't know, but it's fine, you're here.
Okay, well, I think that is just the glories of the internet. Yes, if you contact us at info@together2012.org.uk, then we will give you all of the information, register you, get your phone number, and join you to the group. We also have the art club meeting by Zoom, and that's meeting on a Tuesday and a Friday from 11 to 12. What we've done with all of our clubs is shortened them on Zoom and given them a slightly different focus because of screen fatigue and all of that kind of thing, not to mention data costs if you're not on broadband. So on a Tuesday, the artist Alison Marchant, who leads our clubs programme, runs a make and natter session, and you have the option of either doing a craft activity with Alison that's going to be simple, accessible, inclusive. You'll be able to find all the things you need to do it at home, and it will also be something that's useful as a technique within fine art. Or you can bring your own project. I know some people are doing mosaic, some people are doing decoupage, and are just switching the computer on so they can show each other their work, exchange tips, and just have a bit of a natter. And then on a Friday, our drawing and painting session has morphed into a still life session, so that you have a still life, which again, Alison sets up. Sometimes there's more than one. And people are invited to interpret that through Zoom screen share, whether they want to use pencil, pen, paints, crayons, pastels. So that's all coming up with the art club. And in terms of what people did in their Christmas holiday, I'm just going to pop up a picture from Pritesh Patel, who sent us this in this morning. And just to give a bit of audio description, it's quite a simple sketch. There's a dark blue sky. I think it's mostly in felt tip. And then there's paler blue ice, and a penguin is walking along on the ice. There is a bright yellow sunshine behind, but you can tell that it's actually quite a cold day. Thanks for that, Pritesh.
I saw it as a puffin.
Well,
I think it's a puffin.
I
Yeah.
wondered if it was a puffin, but it seemed to me to be a long way from home if it was stuck out on the ice on its own.
Yes.
Christmas puffin.
Yes,
Christmas puffin.
I think it was definitely a Christmas puffin, but let's not start worrying about the puffin. So one of the things that we're suggesting as a resolution is simply to be really kind of doubling down our efforts to stay home, stay creative, and stay well. I don't know if everybody else saw the news yesterday. It was really quite shocking. Officially, as many as 1 in 16 people in East London currently have coronavirus. But they're now looking at some other figures, which look at the figures according to just different ways of measuring it rather than testing. And using different measures, they think that almost half of everybody in East London has had coronavirus between now and last March. But of course, the way infections work is that could mean that a huge number of people are currently infected. It really is dangerous to do anything at all, really, even with a mask. I mean, I'm now going outside just to do the bins and the post, and I've moved from having mask, gloves, and face shield to full waterproofs and using one of these high-powered kind of disinfectant sprays as soon as I open the door just to clear the air. And in terms of taking things in, you know, we've always been quarantining things for 3 days, but now we're quarantining them and then anti-backing them as well. And there's really, I think, if you're shielding as tight as we are, then there's really nothing else you can do. But if you have to go out, it's really important to wear a mask, not just outside, but before you go out. So, you know, by the time you've put a mask on outside, you don't know what you've already just trapped into your face. I think it's almost inevitable that in the next 24 hours, they will increase the mask rules. But I think if you look at the countries where you've had to wear masks outside from the beginning and you look at how much better the infection control is, you know, there's no doubt about it. And of course, space, because this 2-meter thing was only ever a kind of guideline. You know, you can be much further away than 2 meters for less than 15 minutes. And, you know, for a few seconds, and it's enough to pick up coronavirus. I mean, like I say, I mean, I think it's particularly worrying in East London because we seem to have the distinction of living in one of the worst affected areas in one of the worst countries, and we are, literally down the road from the XL Nightingale, which is just opening up again as we speak. But I think I come back to stay creative.
It was actually featured, Newham was actually featured in a Sky News film over the weekend, which I thought was quite strange.
We pop up a lot.
Yeah.
The Guardian reports on Newham every sort of
Mm.
at least 3 times a week, just because of the very difficult situation we find ourselves in. On the other hand, how many times in life do we ever get the opportunity to go, let's just ignore the theatres and the cinemas, and the cafes and the festivals, and let's just focus on our own art. Let's just focus on ourselves as artists. It might not have been the time we chose, but of course, the weather's pretty appalling at the moment as well. And there's lots coming up. So we're going to talk about a fantastic thing to look forward to later in the week in a minute, which is the Unlimited Festival at the South Bank, almost entirely free and online, with some of the best disabled led art in the UK and indeed in the world. But I thought first we would just play again our video, Charlie and the Sea Monsters, which is, well, really, it's a film that's a version of a colouring book. You can find the film on our website under Charlie and the Sea Monsters. You can download the comic as an A4 PDF. You can print it out at home. You can colour it in. There's also a series of shorter films that you can show to other people just to explain things like, how does infection get carried by touching things on surfaces? How does infection get carried speaking? But ultimately, this is also a very lovely piece of art by Hannah Ensor. So here is Charlie and the Sea Monsters.
Oh, I
you're
believe you're
muted.
still muted.
Oh. Oh no, it's the sound of 2020, isn't it? You're on mute. But no, I'd forgotten just how good that little film was. Where did you get the voices for the little virus?
I did the sound all from one of these sound libraries, and I have to say, well, in fact, this is a good time to say that 2020 is not over in some ways. Our Making History Together 2020 festival simply expanded as it went on, and it remains in this sort of beautiful bubble waiting to watch. So you can still explore the exhibitions, take part in the video workshops, rewatch all the live events, get the information from the talks. There is lots to do. But the last but one event that we did, and Josh and I both really enjoyed, was with a company called Gestalt Arts and working with a Foley artist. And a Foley artist is somebody who does live sound effects. And she was quite horrified when I said I knocked this Charlie and the Sea Monsters soundtrack up in an evening. And really the reason we did it was for people who couldn't access the comic because they didn't have a printer or they couldn't stay online, but also for audio description. So we have a version that's got some spoken audio description too, but really, actually, Josh, sorry, would you mind? Your dad was absolutely right. I can't actually communicate when you're doing something else. It's just that I have a communication impairment where I get very easily distracted and I have to be able to see people's faces looking back at me. But yes, that was really all just from sound libraries and almost entirely free sound libraries. And we've talked about this before in terms of photography and filmmaking. In fact, I should have said earlier, we spent this morning in the first of our 2021 photography and filmmakers clubs. That's on the second Monday of the month, also on Zoom. Next month, we are working with the artist Hazel Brill, who also leads our youth program. We're going to be making small scruffy puppets and animating them. So again, if anybody's interested, I will put our contact details back up on the screen again, but just email us at info@together2012.org.uk and we will send you the information and the joining link. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say about that before we moved on?
No, not me, no, thank you.
Did you have anything to add in the West Midlands about sensible precautions or indeed New Year's resolutions to spend all of our time on our art?
Well, I mean, I think, I mean, we've continued. Well, yeah, we haven't stopped literally anti-backing everything that comes through the door, except for Pad. We make sure he showers though. No, but you know, and we've still got, you know, letters. We have to get them out of the letterbox at some point, and then they still get re-quarantined in the porch for sort of 48 hours as a minimum, and then sprayed, unless the spray is going to kind of ruin what happens to be in them. I mean, and even food, you know, even the food, and you have to. There are some things you've got to be careful with, because if you spray a bag of potatoes and it's got holes in it, then eats the potatoes. For example. So, you know, so we have a kind of almost a grocery produce shelf because we have a porch. So like onions, spring onions, potatoes and things kind of are staying out there. So they've hopefully any natural loss will go. But yeah, absolutely keeping it, wearing masks, wearing gloves. If I have had to go out, I come in and I'll spray myself down, spray my chair, spray my hands, you know. So that's in terms of that. I mean, did you see what I put in the host chat? We were just, well, I will say it. I mean, and I think it's just the awareness that even if you have had COVID, that you can get it again.
And I think that's unsurprising, really, because you can get colds more than once.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be that common yet. You know, we know people have probably got 6 months worth of antibodies, but not always. And that's the thing about vaccinations. Vaccinations are not going to be a magic solution, because even if 100% of the population had them, they're only 90% effective. It would take time. So, yeah, for all sorts of reasons, we've got plenty of time at home. Some things we'll be celebrating or commemorating as appropriate on Together Unlocked. Sorry, I should just introduce one of our animal hosts has just joined us. Leonardo is a large, long-haired, black, fluffy cat who's completely got a mind of his own, really. We have all sorts of anarchic animals sharing our lockdown who wander in and out. If you'd like to see more, then go to the pull down menu on our website under Together Unlocked TV and check out animal hosts. Oh, goodbye, Leonardo. Thank you for that brief appearance. So, yes, later this month, we're going to have a special program on the 27th of January for Holocaust Memorial Day. Next month, February, is of course LGBT plus History Month. So we'll be, I think, effectively not simply focusing, but every week we will be highlighting and showcasing LGBTQI plus disabled artists and work you might enjoy that is currently available online. And then, of course, in March we have International Women's Day, and March indeed is Women's Month all month. And Easter falls very naturally at the end of March, beginning of April, and we're going to have some more of our youth takeover shows coming up before and after Easter. So plenty to look forward to, as well as our regular features, which of course on Wednesday include the return of the Clockwork Paralympics, more poetry from the Pop-Up Poetry Club. Oh, here's Leonardo back to help as well. On Friday, we have our Dressing Up to Go Out to Stay In feature. If you dressed up to have wonderful Christmas parties on your own or in your own bubble, do send us those photos as well. It all sounds fabulous. But also this week, we have Unlimited at the South Bank Centre. So I know all of us have been looking at that to see which we want to go and see. It's quite focused. It starts on Wednesday, it runs till Sunday. It's a festival that takes place usually in the autumn and usually, of course, in the physical venue of the South Bank. It's a national fund that started as a Paralympic Legacy Fund, and it funds disabled artists, I think, almost in a parallel system to the Arts Council's project grants, but perhaps is a bit more arts based and a bit less project based. So, Julie, what was the piece you wanted to see? Almost everything is free, by the way, which is not the case usually at the Unlimited Festival. So, this is really an opportunity to see a lot more than most of us could usually afford.
On Sunday, the 12th of January at 2 p.m., there's an online performance and dance with writer and director Sonny Wachuku. The title of the piece, excuse me, is Saturn Returns. And they actually, excuse me a sec. Sorry about that. They use quite intense language, which doesn't really, I find it a little bit difficult, but it says experience a live spoken word extract from two performers and discover more about the creative process, which I think probably is very good. They talk about the African and Caribbean diaspora, writing, poetry, dance, theatre, and anything that lies beyond, using psychology, tackling issues seen as taboo or different, receiving his dance training from West African and dancehall teachers.
Sorry for anybody who can't see, we're being bombed by Leonardo at the moment.
It's performed with Afrobeats and dancehall artists. So I think there's a film there, but I think there's also a sort of like a masterclass, which sounds very good. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, there seems to be a kind of real mix of, well, what they call broadcasts, but basically videos that you can then watch on demand and things that are interactive on Zoom. I mean, I quite fancy something called Lesbian Pirates, and it's one of the more interactive events. Sorry, just got to get that up. It's led by the writer composer of Freud the Musical and Lesbian Pirates. So it's an artist called Natasha Sutton Williams. And what you do is, her disability-led musical Lesbian Pirates was about Anne Bonny and Mary Read, and that had an awful lot of funding. But what you do is you bring your own character. So you bring a historical character that you already love to this workshop, and then you start developing that character. So that sounds really interesting if you're into acting, history, or just a little bit bored. But you've got quite a long list of things, haven't you, Robin?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I kind of spent some time looking at the website and kind of highlighted something if I was going to do one or two things each day. But so I'm not sure whether you want my whole list of things.
Well, let's start with what's coming up on Wednesday, because that will have started before we're back on air.
Okay, so well, Unseen, Unseen is actually a photographic exhibition which is running from Wednesday actually right through to the 28th of Feb. So you don't have to rush to get to that one. But from what I can tell, I mean, there's not so much on the website to be able to kind of get an impression of other images, but I just like the idea. It's a kind of using photography and obviously manipulation of photography to create pictures that look at the kind of topsy-turviness, I think, really, of the interaction of disabled people with the world around them. So that looks really, really good. And then another one that kind of really caught me was something called I Was Naked Smelling of Rain. Essentially, it's by Aidan Mosby, and it's work around how we are emotionally and physically, psychologically affected by the world. But in particular, the kind of the change, that like the weather, how the weather affects you. You know, where I love the heat relaxes me. Emily hates the heat and it stresses her out. So, you know, absolutely kind of contrary reactions to the same situation. I can smell rain. I can smell when physically, generally I know when it's going to rain, which is, it's interesting in itself, but then it kind of brings a mindset of thinking, well, cool, we need some of that rain, or oh God, not again. So it's kind of, I think it's all about exploring, those immediate kind of changes that we have with us, but it goes just that bit further that says actually, as a modern generation, which is so a modern population or civilization, is that as we move so much more into the digital world, and obviously particularly at the moment, that are we losing some of those interactions with the outside world? So it kind of explores that as well. So
sorry, I think it's really interesting, kind of linking into talking about film, that things like really, really heavy rain is used when something's really sad, and like thunderstorms even, can't speak, are like scary. Whereas for me, I think thunderstorms, those things with big flashes in the sky, I think are fascinating. I think they're really cool to look at. But then really heavy rain, I actually find really relaxing. When it's that kind of proper thick rain, I really enjoy it. And it's interesting, kind of different takeaways from the same thing.
So I think we're all going to be looking at Aidan's work as a matter of priority. And I'm not surprised. I think Aidan Mosby's work is fascinating. He's a great artist. But there are a whole range of great things going on, packed into quite a small space of time. We have a highlights and links page. It's along with the information about the animal hosts. Pull down menu on our website under the main Together TV Unlocked page. And of course, there's a link from that main page as well. So we'll put the program link in to the South Bank Centre and links to anything else we've discussed, including how you can join in with our club's program. I think it's about time we finished as usual on a Monday with our Relax with Our session. If one of your resolutions is to take up yoga, have a look at Arwa's complete yoga channel. We'll have a link in under the highlights and links page. I've gone back to Tai Chi as one of my New Year's resolutions, and I'm teaching Julie because I think we've realised that we're not going to be going out for exercise anytime soon, and it's also very good for stress. So think about that as well. But in the meantime, it's a goodbye from East London.
And goodbye from West Midlands. We'll see you Wednesday.
We'll see you Wednesday. And in the meantime, do relax with Awa.
Welcome to Relax with Our. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope everybody having good Christmas and a Happy New Year. Okay, we are going to start with our on like this. So put your on like that, and you're going to down forward. So you're going to say hello. So you're on like this, and you're going to say hello. Next, we are going to turn our head from side to side. So this side first, and the other side, 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 unota, the other side, other side. So we are going to start with a deep breathing. And now. Now you are you are in the rainforest by yourself. There's nobody around you. And you're going to another island. Now the other island can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be what I'm telling you it to be. Whatever you want it to be. So you're in the middle of the rainforest, and the trees are really tall, and the rain is coming down on you. Not very heavily, but very lightly coming down on you. And you are feeling calm. You are feeling happy. Nothing is in your way. So you're walking to the other island. Now, the floor is filled with sand. So you're leaving your footsteps in the sand. You're walking, and you stop, and you see something familiar to you. Your favorite thing in the world. I don't know what is your favorite thing, so you take it off in your hand and you keep it in your pocket for later. You're walking through the rainforest and you see a lot of animals on your way. You see a tiger, you see a lion, you see a giraffe, you see an elephant, and they all like you because you're calm. Nothing is on your mind. You are so calm. So you go on the boat to the other island and you see the sunset in India. So you draw the sunset very nicely. You draw the sunset and you are relaxing your tongue. See, in this new year, I want you to feel calm, happy, and don't worry about the coronavirus. Don't worry. You are feeling calm. And this would be a good year just say that in your head. This would be a good year. This would be a good year. This would be a good year. Take a final written. One more time in and out. Thank you for listening to Relax with Our. Hopefully see you next week. I hope you enjoy it.